Figured I'd make a quick video talking about running the cab during the summertime. So I was able to use my Ventrac 4520N. Recently got the cab installed primarily for the winter time, but I don't want to have to remove it every single time it's summer and winter. So I figured I'd just keep it on and see how it goes. And so far I've done 2 properties, fairly large properties in about 75, 80 degree-ish weather. It's not blazing hot, it's not humid here in Idaho, and so the conditions that I mowed in so far were okay. The question that I'm more than likely gonna get right away in the comment section is, Phil, does this cab have AC? And no, Ventrac, as far as right now in May 2026, does not have a air-conditioned cab. They have not created something with air conditioning. However, it does blow warm air. I know that that line is kind of deceiving, but hopefully in the future time they can, come out with a kit that hooks up to the current cab that I'm running, so that way we can get air conditioning. But I don't know what all I would have to change. But no, that does not represent cold air. It's just essentially just air. And then if you want to, run it in the wintertime, obviously with hot air, you can turn it to hot, and some guys actually hold it there because it gets pretty toasty in the cab is what I'm reading. You have a defrost fan here, which comes in clutch during the hot weather. So if we turn on our Ventrac, then we have 2 settings on the fan, and center is off. So this actually comes in clutch when I'm mowing because this directly blows in my face. So obviously there's no overhead fan like what I had on my canopy, but this fan right here is sufficient enough to just blow air in your face. And also you have all of these vents right here that are all adjustable. So you can, face them towards you, and you have a three setting adjustment knob to where you can adjust the amount of airflow that is directly hitting you. You also have the ability to open up a few breeze windows, and you can do so by these plastic latches. Now, this is one issue I've been having, primarily when I am running into a lot of uneven terrain, is when I have these open, the latch isn't sufficient enough to hold it in this position. Look, with barely any effort, I'm able to almost unlatch it. And with bumps, this is what it does. I hit a big bump, boom, that's what it does, and it comes off the latch. So I hope Ventrac in the future, instead of having these like plastic, you could have ran like aluminum with a extra like latch feature, I don't know, somehow, but I feel like, this is just way too easy to remove. And when you're out mowing, or even like, I think if you're out plowing and you hit something, it's probably easy enough for one of these latches to just go boom, and that's it. And now your breeze window isn't working like it should. But when you are mowing, guys, breeze windows open is a must, which means you will experience a lot of dust inside of the cab. And I've already kind of washed it and wiped it, but the inside of the cab does get dusty, which means when you're mowing, you're breathing in all the dust as well. You think you're gonna avoid all the dust, you're gonna avoid all the elements outside. Well, unfortunately with the heat, you have to have a breeze window open because it does get hot with all of the breeze windows closed, even with the fans on max. Another issue I was experiencing when I was mowing with the cab on is, for some reason, obviously with uneven terrain comes splashing around of liquids, and what the windshield washer fluid was doing was hitting up either up here, it was coming out of the breather hole, or it was coming out of the cap. And the cap, there is no like rubber gasket or anything to keep it from going in between two of these, the plastic cap and the plastic lip. So I had fluid running down here while I was mowing, and it was getting all over, this component, all over my pants somehow, and my shirt was wet. And I'm like, why is my pants wet and shirt? And I look over and it's just all dripping here, and I'm like, oh man. So maybe, again, in the future, Ventrac can see this video and they're like, all right, We need to make an improvement here. We need to make an improvement there. That definitely needs an improvement. Not only was I getting leaks there, I was also getting fluids coming out of, I think the fluid comes out here from the sprayers. Yeah, for some reason, the fluid was just coming out of the sprayers when I was not even activating. I wasn't even activating the windshield washer fluid or wipers or anything. It was just kind of leaking out. So bit of an annoying thing, but that's just what I've noticed, and that's what I'm kind of giving feedback on to everybody that's thinking of running the cab in the summertime. I personally think there aren't enough breeze windows. You got one in the front, one on the right side, and that is it. Nothing on the back. I wish this back window actually opened a bit. There's nothing on the left side either. So your breathe windows, the amount of circulation of air that comes through is, I believe, lacking. So it's pretty toasty at 80 degrees. I can't even imagine what it would be like trying to mow in 90, 95, 100 degree weather. I'd probably get cooked, but I'd still want to try. We're still waiting for that weather. It's May right now. It's pretty cool. We get cool breezes. If you start at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're done by noon. You beat the heat and you're out before it hits even 80 plus. In July and August, we get mornings where it's already 80, so we can't beat the heat. We start at 7, even 6 sometimes. You're done by 11-ish, and it's like already 90. But I'm very curious to see how it's going to perform in hotter temperatures. But already it's kind of like, man, you need to stop, open the door, catch some fresh air, some fresh breeze, and then you're like, all right, get back to mowing. It sounds like there are too many problems running the cab in the summertime while mowing, but I guess with the amount of jobs that I tackle, I'm not out there every single day performing this work. So it's only like, when I get the jobs that require the Ventrac, I tackle them. When I get the jobs that require a 72-inch flail mower, I tackle them. When I get a job that requires a 36-inch mower or a 48 or a 56, 60-inch mower even, I'll use the mower and not the Ventrac. What Ventrac told me was taking the cab off is not easy. It actually is easy with a forklift. You got all these hook points here, 2 on the back, 2 on the front, and you just, disconnect some lines and then it comes right off. Guys, I personally don't have a forklift. I don't even want to call anybody's and try an attempt to take this off. Second of all, I don't have the storage to store the cab. So for me, it's like, I just rather would keep it on and use it with the cab on all season long. I was thinking about tinting these windows. Shout out to Cameron Duncan. He kind of gave me the idea. He's like, what if you tint the windows to reduce the amount of heat that goes inside the cab? And I'm like, well, that's a pretty smart idea, but what percentage should I go with? And so I'm talking to my local tint guy, and he's got this like carbon film or something, new tech, that is supposed to reduce the amount of heat. It's one of the best films on the market, apparently, and it really helps with heat. I don't know if it deflects reflects heat, but it definitely reduces the amount of, heat that enters. I don't know the correct terminology, but you guys kind of understand what I'm talking about. But I was thinking maybe like, 10% tint all the way around. I think 5% will be a little bit too dark. I do plan on using this at night when I am plowing with it, so I don't want to go way too dark. And I think 10% is already pushing it. So I think we're gonna go 10% all the way around with this new carbon film. So my final verdict, should you run the cab all season long? Should you mow with it? Well, it just depends on where you live, guys. If you live in a climate where it's super humid and super hot almost all year round, I would not recommend it at all. If you live in an area, kind of like me, where you deal with 4 seasons and you get some heavy winters, you get about 5-6 months worth of mowing, and the temperatures are, right around the 80s, maybe 90s sometimes, then again, I'd still recommend it. I'm going to keep you guys updated more again when I, use this thing in super hot weather and when I also get the tent installed. But for now, I still recommend it. Again, I don't want to take this thing on and off. I like it the way it is. And I hope that Ventrac comes out with a AC option. When will that be out? I don't know, man. Hopefully soon. Oh, I almost forgot. If you are running the Ventrac toolboxes and mounts, you have to remove them. I have not found a way to install the toolboxes back on, but I'm really trying to figure something out. And if you guys have any ideas on how to mount some kind of tool storage inside the cab, let me know in the comments down below, because again, maybe we got to work something out up here. We have a little bit of storage. Maybe we can add, I was thinking like some like netting to where I don't have to do anything like this, like an Icon magnetic tray with some bolt cutters. I want to store something like up here or something else. I wish this was metal. Then we could maybe run a magnetic pad and throw some tools, but I feel like the tools would fall and smack your head. That wouldn't be any good. And on this side either, now we have like the windshield washer fluid. We can't even run the mini toolbox that holds your phone. But even here, you can't run the toolbox because now the windshield washer fluid tank is mounted there instead. So I don't know. I will figure something out. Maybe we will figure something out. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, I'm actually prone to do this, kind of remembering things on the fly. And one thing I remembered was when I was mowing with it, I almost ran out of fuel. So I had to ask the homeowner if she had a can of gas, and she did. She had I believe a no spill can. So as you can see, this compartment is kind of tight, and trying to get I think it was a 5-gallon, gas can in here was a bit on the hard side. You could only tip it to a certain degree, and I couldn't get all of the fuel out of her gas can to refuel my Ventrac. So depending on the gas can that you have, you might not be able to refuel it without having like a spout or one of those, what are they, shirt can gas cans that have a little thing on the bottom where you can just insert it and press a button and it'll refuel. I think you would have to run those. Okay, I promise you, this is the last thing, and this is kind of like, not really cab related, but kind of is. So I recently installed a backup cam on my Ventrac. Here's the display. It's just mounted on this metal extra plate that they have. The plate is actually for, I think, your drop spreader. But on eBay, I bought a reverse cam or a backup cam, mounted it, ran the wire down, still got to work on my wire tucking, and then threw it into the USB type A port. And now I have a backup cam mounted. And again, I don't think this is the best place for it, but this is kind of the only place that worked so far. I mounted it to the back of the fan or the filter cover because it's metal. Now I know this might limit the amount of airflow, but not really, right? I mean, look, I'm only covering like a small portion of it. But there's the backup camera. It's solar powered. You can also recharge it via USB if you don't have a lot of sunlight. But now, check this out. Boom. So, two purposes for the backup camera. First of all, when you run the cab and you're mowing and you're backing up, let's say near a fence line or a fence post or a tree, you see how the cab kind of protrudes out? On a normal operating day without the cab, you'd be worried about, hitting the ROPS, hitting the tree or whatever, so you're backing up slowly. Well, now you have like, I don't know, a foot and a half extra of clearance that you have to worry about. So having a backup camera, if you point it straight down, you can kind of you can actually activate the guides, and the guides will tell you, you can make your own calculations, and depending on how you tilt the camera, because it is adjustable, you can tilt it where you will see the actual back of your, unit. So you'll see the hitch and everything. Or you can bring it up, and now you have, if you keep on tilting it up, you can actually have a view of the top of your solar panel. And that will give you an indication, okay, that's like that. We're about to smack into something. But I'd rather have it down and turn on the guides and use the guides to figure out exactly kind of where my farthest backup point would be. And this is also, of course, good for in the wintertime. If you are plowing, you are able to see how far you can back up to a car or a house or anything else that you might be working around. If you have any questions at all about the cab, please let me know in the comments down below. This is the newest generation as of May 2026. I believe they had 2 different styles, and this is the updated style that does come standard with the tow mirrors, or with the mirrors. So, but still no AC. I wish in the future they do figure out a system where they could run air conditioning in the cab. And I believe that will drive more people to purchase this and run it all season long. Thank you again so much for tuning in, guys. Take care. God bless you. And we'll see you in the next one.